In the early years of the 20th century, the world witnessed a conflict that would shatter assumptions about global power. The Russo-Japanese War, fought between 1904 and 1905, was not simply a clash over territory. It was a confrontation between two empires with ambitions that stretched across Asia. For centuries, European powers had dominated the globe, but Japan's victory over Russia revealed that the balance of power was shifting. This war would become a turning point, signaling the rise of Japan as a modern military force and exposing the vulnerabilities of the Russian Empire. The roots of the conflict lay in competing ambitions. Russia, vast and powerful, sought warm water ports in the Pacific to expand its trade and naval presence. Its eyes were fixed on Port Arthur in Manchuria. Meanwhile, Japan had rapidly modernized after the Meiji Restoration and was eager to secure its place among the world's great powers. Having already defeated China in the Sino-Japanese War of 1894-95, Japan wanted to protect its interest in Korea and expand into Manchuria. Diplomatic negotiations between the two nations failed as neither side was willing to compromise. On February 8, 1904, Japan struck first, launching a surprise attack on the Russian fleet at Port Arthur. The world was stunned. An Asian nation had dared to challenge an European power head-on. The war unfolded across both land and sea, testing the endurance and strategy of both nations. On land, Japanese forces proved disciplined and effective at the Battle of the Yalu River. They pushed Russian troops back, demonstrating their superior organization. The siege of Port Arthur became one of the most grueling episodes of the war. For months, Japanese forces encircled the fortress, enduring heavy casualties, and they fought to break Russian defenses. Eventually, Port Arthur fell, delivering a devastating blow to Russian morale. At sea, the conflict reached its climax. In May 1905, the Russian Baltic fleet sailed halfway around the world to confront Japan. Exhausted and poorly coordinated, the fleet made its fate at the Battle of Tsushima. In a stunning display of naval power, Japanese fleet destroyed or captured most of Russia's ships. It was the first major naval battle of the 20th century, and it confirmed Japan's mastery of modern warfare. The victory shocked observers worldwide, proving that Japan had become a formidable force capable of defeating an European empire. The war concluded with the Treaty of Portsmouth, mediated by U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt, who later received the Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts. Japan emerged with control over Korea and southern Sakhalin, while Russia was forced to abandon its ambitions in Manchuria. For Japan, the victory was a moment of pride, cementing its status as a modern imperial power. But for Russia, the defeat was humiliating. The loss exposed deep weaknesses in the empire's military and government, fueling unrest at home. In 1905, strikes, protests, and uprisings erupted across Russia, marking the beginning of revolutionary movements that would eventually culminate in the Russian Revolution of 1917. The war had not only redrawn borders, it had shaken the foundations of empires. The Russo-Japanese War reverberated far beyond East Asia. For the first time in modern history, a non-European nation had defeated an European power, inspiring anti-colonial movements across Asia and Africa. Leaders and activists saw Japan's victory as proof that the old order could be challenged. In India, China, and the Middle East, the war became a symbol of resistance against Western dominations. Yet, Japan's victory also marked the beginning of its own imperial ambitions, as it tightened its grip on Korea and expanded its influence in Asia. The conflict revealed the fragility of empires and foreshadowed the global upheavals of the 20th century. It was a war that lasted barely a year and a half, but its consequences shaped decades of history. In the early years of the 20th century, the world witnessed a conflict that would shatter assumptions about global power. The Russo-Japanese War, fought between 1904 and 1905, was not simply a clash over territory. It was a confrontation between two empires with ambitions that stretched across Asia.